Hello interwebs, welcome to Let's Fix Computers. We're doing diagnostics on a Zoostorm pre-built computer today. This thing is apparently not starting up, so let's turn the power on at the back, power on at the front. Oh, good grief, that's loud. Oof. Okay, so observations. We have post. We've got at least one knackered fan, given the noise this thing is making, and a CPU fan pretty well blocked off. You can see the dust through the blades there. So we're on Windows Automatic Repair. So this thing is posting and it's starting up, but for some reason or other it didn't want to go into Windows. So I'm going to let that cycle through the automatic repair. While I wait for that, let's just see what is making that awful racket. So CPU fan. Right, the most noisy one is the power supply. Power supply fan is goosed, and the CPU fan is also goosed because I can hear that making a noise when I tap that as well. Not quite as bad as the power supply, but still knackered. Both those fans got to be replaced, really. We'll see if we can make good on this. What is this? It's in Windows 10. What's the spec on this thing? It's a former Windows 7 with an Intel Celeron, so it's oldish and low spec, but it's still modern, I guess. Let's have a look at the automatic repair and just see what this thing is doing. Okay, let's just do a normal restart and just see if we can get to there. So, I'm just going to creep over to advanced options. So we're going to disable automatic restart on system failure, and that is going to allow us to block any blue screens that are coming up. No, we're going straight into automatic repair, so we've actually got something blocking Windows. Okay, first of all, I've got to wait for this automatic repair to take me back round just so I don't make the problem any worse. Then what we're going to do, we're going to shut this down, I'm going to clean out these fans and just see if... I don't know if there's any point in cleaning out those fans. We'll clear the dust out of them, and then it will just be noisy, but at least it won't be overheating. And then we'll have a look at this. No start, and we'll see if we can get that thing running again. So, okay, right, we are back, and we have cleaned it out. Now, because we have, it's still noisy as ever, but at least it can actually cool itself now. Ah, you bastard, missed it. As soon as you get any kind of problem that involves Windows not starting that has been spontaneous, so we haven't changed any hardware, we haven't got any exotic stuff in there, it's nothing to do with graphics cards or anything like that. That RAM isn't in properly. As soon as we have any suspicion that there could be an issue with the hard drive, we have to run a hard drive test. So I'm going to stick in my CTools for DOS CD. You can make one of these quite easily by downloading the CTools for DOS ISO from the CTools website. It's completely free. Burn it to a disk. You can't use a flash drive with this, unfortunately. It's got to be a DVD. Plug that in, and you can run a hard drive test. So I'm going to put that CD in, and then I'm going to hit the reset button. So let's just three-finger salute this. No? Okay, we'll turn it off and on again in that case. So I'm going to spam the delete key to get the setup. There we go. Alright, so we've got an actual proper Asus motherboard in this. Right, okay, so boot order. So, okay, boot priority. We're on SATA DVD drive first anyway, so let's just F8 for boot menu in that case. And we're going to select SATA DVD drive. AT-API is always going to be your DVD drive. Okay, off we go. So, that's now going to boot up into CTools for DOS, which is a bit of an old program, but it does still work. That much being said, I don't like the way this screen output looks at the moment. This looks dangerously like it's not going to start. No? Okay. Okay, it looks like this computer doesn't like CTools for DOS, which does happen now and then. Or we've got another problem entirely. I'm going to go for a double attack at this point. Now, I noticed that memory module was loose. I don't think that's our problem here, but just in case, we better run memtest. Now, since CTools doesn't seem to want to run, what I'm going to do, I'm going to run two tests at the same time. I'm going to take the hard drive out and test that on my workstation, and I'm going to drop memtest into this computer and run that. So let's start memtest off firstly. So we're going to turn this off again. And I'm going to grab memtest. Now you can make a memtest flash drive. I've just got the DVDs pre-burnt. Again, you can get the download from the memtest website. Do Google search, it's completely free. So turn that back on again, and I'm going to spam the F8 key while I inject the DVD drive. And F8 is going to give me the boot menu again. It's set to boot from the DVD drive as the default. However, I just want to get the boot menu just so I've got a bit of time to change the disks out. There we go. Right. AT-API, go. Can we get memtest? Give that a moment because it does have to spin up the drive. There we go. Okay, we're going to take the default option. Okay, I'll come back in a bit when this memory test is run through, and then we'll run the hard drive test. So I'll see you guys after the cut. Okay, so our mem test has passed, so we're turning that off again. Unplug the background bits. Okay, so we've got to pull the hard drive out on this because it's being that guy and not running CTools for us. So I've got to turn this over and unscrew the hard drive from the back. Those are on too tight. Alright, so there's our hard drive, so we're going to plug this into the workstation now. Alright, so we've got this thing plugged in via serial ATA now, and we're able to browse the contents of the hard drive. The computer did do Windows 10 did do some repairs to this drive while I was starting it up, and it also took a long time, so that implies that it's been doing something. So we're going to fire up CTools for Windows now, and we're going to see what that says. So we'll let that run its scan. Again, CTools for Windows is a free utility you can download from the Seagate website. And we're going to select the drive in question. And you can identify which drive is which based on the model number. Now, I've got my Intel SSD and the WD-40, that's my Western Digital Red. So I know that this one is the drive I've connected. So let's go for a short generic on that just to see if we get a quick answer from this. And our survey says pass, so let's kick it off on the long test now. This one's going to take a while. It's a 500 gig hard drive, so I'm going to go for 2 hours. Let's see what the ETA, yeah, 156. So I'm going to hit stop on the recorder again, and I will come back when we've got some results. Okay, we're up to 1% and we got a fail. So we've got our diagnosis, we have a faulty hard drive. So next stage now is backing up. So I'm going to attempt to back up the data on this hard drive, and then we will see about getting it replaced. So because I'm able to browse the hard drive at the moment, we can just go straight and attempt to copy the user's directory. But I'm going to use a program that I commonly use for this called Snapshot, and this is going to let me make an image backup of the hard drive. Snapshot, you can get the trial version of this that's available for a 30-day trial from their website, snapshot.de. And it is extremely useful for backing up everything. So let's browse this. We're going to black out the screen for a moment because you're going to see a crap ton of customer data that I've got for other stuff that's in at the moment. Okay, there we go, that'll do. And we can hit save, start copy. And that is going to go ahead and attempt to do a shadow copy of the entire contents of the hard drive. Now the great thing about Snapshot is it is tolerant of bad sectors. So when it comes across a bad sector on the hard drive, it will just skip past it and move on. And then depending on how many bad sectors we come across depends on whether it will succeed or not. If we get a full snapshot image with less than 100 bad sectors, it's probably fine. If we find that the bad sectors start spiraling up into the hundreds, then at that point I will probably attempt to do a manual backup by file copying anyway, because the snapshot will probably be no good. So we'll let that crack on and we'll see how far we get. So I'll see you guys after the cut again. Okay, right, our snapshot is complete. We only had one unreadable sector for that snapshot. Now, bearing in mind, of course, that's not one unreadable sector for the entire drive. That was just one unreadable sector for where we were reading data from. Now, it's possible to do sector repairs on hard drives. However, in my experience, a bad hard drive is a bad hard drive. If it was some grossy old thing of my own, I'd probably try doing a sector repair on that and just use it as a dump drive. But once the drive starts going bad, you don't know. It might last 6 months, it might last 6 minutes, you just don't know. So one bad sector is still a fail for me. So regardless of this, we're going to crack on and change out this hard drive. So I'll be giving the customer a call, get authorization for a new drive, and we'll get a new one put in there. I was going to attempt the sector repair on it, however, I spoke to the customer about the computer. I mentioned that I thought the computer was kind of reaching end of life and gauged their reaction. They weren't really ready to let go of it. And that's the thing with this system. It's not very high spec and it's a Windows 7 system, so it's getting on a bit. But it can be fixed, and if we replace key components now, later on, they can do a platform upgrade. Because this is just a micro ATX case we've got here. So later on down the line, we can just replace the motherboard, RAM and CPU with a new platform and just completely rejuvenate this thing without the cost of a whole new build. So for that reason, we're opting to replace parts. So I'm putting in a new hard drive with all their data already imaged onto it. So that's now connected. We're going to replace this CPU fan now to get rid of that fella. And that will get rid of the noise. And then we've got a, can I do something about this major wobble we got going on there? Am I going to go to the effort? Yeah, I think we might. We'll have a look at that in a sec. We're missing a standoff under the motherboard here, which is causing this massive flex. So yeah, we're going to see if we can replace that standoff. We're also going to replace the power supply because the fan has gone in that power supply, and I'm not replacing the fan on this piece of crap Zoostorm 300 watt power supply. So no, screw that noise. So we've got an EVGA power supply on the way that will be at 450, which is massive overkill for this computer at the moment, but later on down the line it will mean that we can actually upgrade this thing. So we're putting in a little bit of investment now, and then later on down the line this thing will get a whole new lease of life again. So let's get these screws out on this CPU fan. I'm not replacing the whole cooler, I've just got a fan out of my spares box that is in nice condition, and that'll do the job. Okay, right, let's just brush away that excess dust that the fan has now revealed. I'll give this another quick airline when I'm finished just to blow that out of the way. Right, new fan. Okay, right, I've just noticed that the peg down on this side is actually completely loose. You can see that movement there, that should not be moving like that. It should be like this one, which, if I can get it so my finger isn't in the way, that movement is normal, that's not rattling, but this one, that's physically loose. That shouldn't be doing that. So we're going to have to take this motherboard out anyway just to refit this CPU cooler properly. So after all of that, it's got to come out. But that means we can also sort out this standoff. I wonder what the hell happened to that. I mean, this thing must have been taken apart before in the past or something, and someone's just not reassembled it properly. I wonder if it's had a new motherboard or something like that. Who knows? Is that locking? No, it's not. Right, so let's pull all of this stuff out. This motherboard just isn't in properly at all, actually. This is crap. This is really bad. Okay. Oh no. The CPU cooler was in properly. All 4 pegs are still in place. However, that pin just needs to push down like that. So that's all it needed. However, now I can replace that missing standoff. That one's also good, and it's got the same thread. Okay, right, you're going back in. So I'm putting a Corsair VS450 in this. The VS series is Corsair's cheaper series of power supplies. However, this is not a super high performance computer. It doesn't even need a CX in it, to be honest. So we're just working with a cheap power supply that's still half decent quality and isn't going to fall over at the first sign of issues. And the other nice thing is, because unlike the original one, this one's actually got a 120mm fan in it. It will be an awful lot quieter than the old one is. Even when the old one was working, that 80mm fan would have been noisy. I need to unravel the big bundle of cables that's on this thing. So let's just unfurl all of this. Kind of nice that even on Corsair's cheapest power supply, it's still fully braided. Now, of course, I could get serious with cable ties and zip tie all of this back and stuff like that, but it's not necessary to. This case doesn't have a window. We're not bothered about it looking flashy. So we're just going to make sure that nothing is straying into the path of fans, and that's enough. The CPU power line, we only have a 4-pin connector on this, so I'm just going to split that apart. And the one that has the square blocks on it is the one we're going to be using. So that is going to go in like that. And I'm just going to twist this cable up to try and encourage it to bend in the direction away from the fan. Yeah, that looks good. There we go. So that cable is now naturally just going straight up there and on top of the DVD drive out of the way. So we haven't had to tie this back, it just naturally wants to sit that way. Alright, there we go. So that's nice and clear. Okay, right, so this computer has gone through a lot of motions. It did a disk repair, then it did the searching for problems, and now it is rebooted straight to the login screen. I've just moved the preview over the top of where some customer details were, but as you can see, this thing has now started up. So I can move straight to servicing now. The main fault is fixed. It will just need a good service to speed it up, and it'll all be done. So thank you very much for watching, everyone. I'll see you all next time. Goodbye for now.